We heard a lot about the role of media in different countries. As turns out, the situation is very different throughout Europe. Nevertheless, media have a big impact on the information citizens receive. Should Europe intervene? Is there something like a media policy?
Well, I think that media policy is important because in Europe there's no homogeneous market. There's big countries, there's small countries, there's poorer countries, there's richer countries, more densely populated countries also, and others with a lot of remote areas. So I think that the markets are very different, with very different possibilities also for valorization of products in media being made, valorization in terms of export and also in terms of catering for a population that is more or less big. So media policy is in fact intervening in these market mechanisms to, for instance, harmonize the market, harmonize the situation, the infrastructure that is in place for the media. These are all reasons for intervening in the market. Also, when it comes to information media, it's important that there are multiple voices to be heard. People do not have to watch or listen to only one owner, media owner, who is owning radio stations, television stations, newspapers, a highly concentrated market, because there is a risk for concentration in Europe, especially in smaller countries, especially in poorer countries, in countries where a consolidation of the market is needed for a company to live and thrive. So for all of these reasons, I think that media policy corrects the nature of the market.
Media policy is very important to guarantee plurality and quality of media content. What's it like in Europe? Is there enough monitoring of the news media?
When you look at the news media, we see that the media authorities in the different countries, in the different member states, do not, or mostly do not, have this responsibility in their portfolios. They really mainly look at broadcast and at audiovisual media services in general, as this is now the term. But the news media are left at a self-regulatory scenario. So it's really in the member states themselves that governance, and especially also the media authorities, have to map the concentration, because now all the companies are multimedia companies who own television stations, own the newspapers, own other services. So it's really cross-media, the reality. But we see that in terms of news media, content diversity, for instance, vocality in terms of content, this is not mapped. The mapping that takes place by the media authorities takes place at the level of who owns what, and how big is the concentration, and are we dealing with a potentially dangerous concentration, a too concentrated market, or are we okay, or do we have enough owners and suppliers? This is mainly what is going on in terms of news media. But of course there is this concern for multiple voices in the media. But we see, and especially in Eastern Europe and in smaller countries, we see high concentration levels, and also a lack of independency with regard to political parties that are in charge of the country.
So does that mean the EU isn't doing anything to monitor news media?
There is new concern, so it's very important. I mean, that's why we also have, of course, the Council of Europe next to the European Commission, much more looking at markets. We have the Council of Europe, which is bigger than the European Union. It deals with 47 countries, also in the east of Europe, not belonging to the European Union necessarily, looking at human rights and citizen rights and media and democracy, and this triangle. So this is very important, and it's being monitored.
Things are happening on the European level, but there's still a lack of monitoring. Can you think of a solution on a European level?